What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla X Kong the New Empire figure review. In this one we will be reviewing the new battle roaring Kong. That's right, Playmates is back at it again with more battle roaring figures. This is the new battle roaring Kong from Godzilla X Kong the New Empire. Very similar build to the previous one, I guess we'll talk about that in this video. I remember when Playmates way over mass produced their battle roaring Godzillas and Kongs for Godzilla vs Kong, so they were the only things you could find in stores. It seems maybe the opposite problem has happened now because I can't find them anywhere! I can only find the Kong! Where's the Godzilla? Where's the Scar King? I can only find the Kong and he's everywhere. Maybe they just overproduced the Kongs this time. I don't know it. Alright, anyways, let's do the figure review. I love me the Playmates Godzilla X Kong boxes. This one's just the standard box. You got the pink crystals on the inside, Godzilla Kong render, Battle Roaring Kong demoed. You've got the crystals, Godzilla Kong render, all the new upcoming Godzilla Battle Roaring figures, including the ones that you can't find if you're D-Man, which would be the Scar King and the Godzilla. I mean, you can look, but you're never gonna find them, assuming you're me. And then on the bottom, just the whatever info. I do like that they've got this big try me hole in the back so you can give them a little spin. And it seems like we've got a new roar this time. He didn't do that roar previously. That's cool. I like that. I like that he does a new one. I guess that's the part where we talk about the box. Hello. And now comes the part where we talk about the toy. Hey, you know what? This is actually pretty solid. I don't know how people feel about these, but I really think these figures with gimmicks are very cute. I really like them. It kind of helps to justify the existence of the toy for me. I just think it's a fun thing to do. And giving King Kong a gimmick where he can roar, that's just a cool thing. I mean, any of the monsters roaring is cool, but I like it with the Kong. It's especially nostalgic for Kong because that's the kind of thing Playmates did back in 2005, man. It was a lot harder to find a Godzilla toy that could roar in the United States, so it's nostalgic for the King Kong fans out there. I actually think the sculpt is pretty solid. Overall, the whole thing looks really good. Kong's got very nicely defined muscles in his arms. I really like the way you can see the upper muscles, especially on the shoulders, and I like the way that they're separated out, well detailed. That's really solid. The hands look really good. The fingernails are well done. The actual palm of the hand, the fist, looks really good. I like the way that the fur covers parts of the hand, but not the whole thing. The skin breaks through. When Kong lifts up his arm, you can see on his chest, they've done a really good job showing the way that the chest skin is separated from the fur. It actually goes down further towards the belly this time, unlike, you know, with the Godzilla vs Kong figures. They didn't do that, despite the fact that in the movie, Kong's skin extends down towards the belly, so I like that they're doing that here. The feet look really good. Again, toes look good with toenails. The bottom of the feet are textured. I think the texturing overall, where the fur is done, looks really solid. There's more depth on the fur than I would have expected for a Playmates toy, and especially for the Battle Roaring toy. It seems that the fur was lifted straight off of the Kong with the Beast Glove. It seems that they have generally copied the fur over from the Kong with the Beast Glove, but I don't really have a problem with that because it looked good on that toy. And I do like that this Kong does not have the Beast Glove. He's just got his regular arm out, thankfully. Looks a lot less ridiculous that way. He does feature the same weird limited sculpt of the King Kong battle roaring figure from Godzilla vs Kong, where one arm is bent inward towards the chest, of course mimicking the beating of the chest, which I understand. It's cool. I mean, he can't really beat his chest. You gotta kind of force the figure into a position where he literally makes contact, but I get why they do that pose. It's just a very limiting thing for a toy. Like, you can only make him throw punches really with one arm. When I was a kid, that would frustrate the hell out of me when I had a toy that did that. In fact, I had a Ben 10 very similar to this, and it always annoyed me. Yeah, Ben, the real Ben, not one of his aliens. You'd have to make him like do a little jab and then a big left hook. It was annoying. And then the face actually looks really nice with all of the rubber. The rubber piece actually looks very good. They've got good texturing in it. Now, it does have this gap where it goes from the plastic to the rubber. I don't really mind that. The teeth are very well done. They've actually given him a little tongue, which is almost impossible to see, but they have given him a little tongue. The nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, there's like wrinkles in the face. I think that's all pretty awesome. And even the ears, I think, look really good. So sculpt-wise, other than the limited pose, which I don't like the pose, I'm really down for that. Of course, he does have the big brick sticking out of the back of him, 7, but it's fine. It makes him roar. You press it in. I don't have a big issue with that. Of course, there are subtler ways to do it if it was just a little button, but I don't have a too big of an issue with it. And then, of course, there is the speakers sticking out of the chest, but given that these battle roaring figures actually have pretty good sound, I don't have an issue with that either. The paint on this guy is pretty standard. It's just this dullish brownish color for the whole body, which looks pretty solid, actually. Not only is it a King Kong brown, but it actually looks like the movie. He's got the gray skin for the chest, hands, and fingers, and for the face, which looks good. The chest features the chest scars nicely painted on. The face has white teeth, which look good, orange eyes with black pupils that are pointing in the right direction, so that's a big bonus. Articulation on this guy is, of course, very limited. He can spin his arms around. His hands actually can turn around as well. His feet deceivingly can't turn for some reason. Despite having a line there, you can't mess with the foot, but you can rotate the legs around, so you can kick the legs around, which is neat. And then I guess if you want to count it as articulation, the mouth. I mean, technically you press the button in the back and then the mouth opens. I guess maybe we could count that, which I guess would bring it to 7, but really it's 6 points of articulation. And then as for those roars, let's hear them. Some kind of grunty growls. It's different than the Godzilla vs. Kong one, so that's one unique sound. That's the King Kong roar we love. So it seems Kong makes two different noises. He's got one kind of grunty noise, and then he's got the roar, which I like. I like the roar. Sounds very good. The grunty sound is a little underwhelming, just mostly his breathing. It would have been better if that was a third vocal option. That would have been cool. Hey, I'm glad that it is a new sound. To compare Kong to the Kong with the Beast Glove, you can see there are differences here. They don't look identical. First of all, the biggest noticeable difference is the lack of the Beast Glove, which I really like. I'm glad that this doesn't have the Beast Glove. I'm glad that they are making King Kong toys without it, because I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm glad that they made one with it, for sure, but I am glad that we have variations without it as well, especially because Kong's not going to have the glove the entire movie. And then the face is obviously a big difference. This one's a rubber head and actually can open the mouth and roar, and this one's just fixed in that roaring position. But it does seem that they have overall generally copied the fur from one Kong onto the next, which again, I just don't have an issue with. I really like the Godzilla X Kong line that Playmates is putting out. I think they've been generally doing a very good job with it all. And of course, the battle roaring Kong is a little taller than the other Kong. This is where things get interesting. We have the battle roaring Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong against the battle roaring Kong from the New Empire, and oh man, just in literally every single regard, the New Empire's Kong is leaps and bounds better. He has a much better sculpt. The GVK one is so flat. The texture is what's lacking. The fur doesn't look as good. It's so smooth and unrendered. The chest doesn't look as good. It's not as accurate to the movie. While this one does feature articulated feet and the new one doesn't, I guess that's a bonus on the old one. It features such an ugly, disgusting face. Like, that doesn't look like King Kong. The new one looks like King Kong. Even I feel like down to the way that the battery packs and the bolt to make him roar stick out on the back, the old one I feel like is even more noticeable. It does seem like the old Kong from GVK has 3 different sounds, whereas the new one only has 2. I do like that the old one has more sounds, but I wouldn't trade it for the new one. Like, the new one is overall just a generally better product. They were like the same price. I believe they're like $15 at the store. Was that not awesome or what? This would be the thumbnail if I still did thumbnails like this. And then finally, we've got the roaring Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong, the one looking off into the stars and who has no idea that he's about to get creamed. Why'd they make him look into the sky like that? But here's the two kings of the monsters roaring in harmony. Godzilla, you drag it out way too long. I suppose they look decent next to each other. Godzilla looking into the sky is ridiculous, but other than that, they're solid. I'm excited to get the new evolved Godzilla out. I wish they would kind of remake this roaring Godzilla with the blue. I know they're doing a pink roaring Godzilla, but it would be cool if they did a blue roaring Godzilla that wasn't maybe looking into oblivion. There's Godzilla X Kong the New Empire's battle roaring Kong from Playmates. Given the fact that this guy is at a decent price with a neat gimmick, and given that they've increased the sculpt, made general improvements in every single aspect from their Godzilla vs. Kong line, I'd give this guy an 8 out of 10 on a Playmates scale, especially for a battle roaring figure. Now, of course, it does annoy me that he has such a limited pose. You know, if I'm being really critical, I could drop it as low as like a 7. The reason I'm giving it such a high score is because they have made so many improvements from the Godzilla vs. Kong line, and I am impressed with that. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.